September 19th, 2016. Guys, something happens tomorrow that the entire world should be aware of. And it's going to be our president's final visit to the United Nations. And he's going to focus on refugees. And we've seen it in the last few years. There's not a whole lot of talk about United States citizens anymore. It's a new world system. But I did a video several months ago, and we talked about the possibility that our president would run for the head of the United Nations, even though it's been basically ineffective in many areas until the last 8 years, guys. And what's happened is, led by the United States as far as money, the United Nations has added a lot of troops, a lot of tanks, intelligence, hardware, power. Now, they're going to elect the next United Nations Secretary General this January the 1st. Convenient timing as people step out of office. Now, one of the things I noticed in the last couple of days, the speeches that our president have been giving were angry. That in one speech he said that to not vote for Hillary was to vote against his legacy. And he's talking about that we need to come together to help the people that are displaced by war. But who started the displacement and the war, guys? Think about this. Now, what happened today while everyone was looking at the terrorism? The United Nations adopted a non-binding declaration signed by 193 nations that calls on countries that can accept more refugees for resettlement to do so, and for wealthier nations to spend more on humanitarian aid. John Kerry, said Obama will call on leaders to go even further with specific comments on Tuesday. Make no mistake, additional efforts are urgently needed. Now, this will be his last political speech, and if he were going to decide to run as the new world leader. Now, another article came out today. Check this out. But the headlines, and it caught my attention immediately, is who will be the next Secretary General. Then in the first paragraph, it says the race to the next Secretary General of the UN remains wide open as speculation mounts that the current front runner for the job could be sidelined by a surprise last-minute entry to the contest. Guys, I wonder who that would be. You've got people from all over Europe and all over that area of the world that are in the horse race to be the leader of the New World Order. And that's basically what we're talking about. You say, well, why? Because they've been ineffective, and they have. But if in the last 8 years, they have been resupplied. And I'm going to show you a video about that at the end of this. I want you to watch that. But at the same time that the United Nations has to build their one world army up, they have to try to destroy the obstacles in their way for world domination. What would that be? First, the most powerful nation on this side of the planet, and then Europe. Destabilize the Middle East. Europe becomes very weak because of open borders. The United States becomes very weak because of open borders. And deplete the military. Pull the heavy ammo away from the National Guards in each state. And now since Missouri, St. Louis incident there, and Ferguson, many of the police departments and things like that had gotten heavier equipment. That's been recalled. But I've got just this bad feeling about this, and this article caught my attention, guys. But I'm going to link to it. You can go and read that there's 9 people now. There were 12. 3 have dropped out. But they're talking about this surprise last-minute entry to the contest, as these could be haunting words. And again, build the UN very powerful, weaken its opponents. When you're dealing with the UN, it's the one world order, the United Nations. One world order. And not only would you have to weaken a nation militarily, or the opponent to your agenda, you would have to control the politics, the elections. You would have to continue a line of presidents that was along with this New World Order agenda. Think about it, guys. Think about what I'm saying and look at how this is playing out. Did anyone see the last couple of speeches that our president gave? Very angry. One, he said it would be an insult to his legacy if this group he was speaking to did not vote Hillary in. And it was angry, like he knows he has but a short time, if you understand what I'm saying. And it was the disturbing type anger. Anger that how dare someone go against this New World agenda. Where would that anger lead if the elections don't go as planned? That's been on a lot of people's mind, because now all the polls are going towards Trump. All of them. And the Democrats can come up with nothing substantial to talk about anymore, so it's like reading a cheap magazine. I'm going to link to this video, this article, and I'm going to play a part of the video that I did before with this Obama speech at the United Nations. Listen and pay attention. It's a heads up. Be safe.
We're grateful to the United Nations for its efforts to forge a unity government. We will help any legitimate Libyan government as it works to bring the country together. But we also have to recognize that we must work more effectively in the future as an international community to build capacity for states that are in distress before they collapse. And that's why we should celebrate the fact that later today, the United States will join with more than 50 countries to enlist new capabilities: infantry, intelligence, helicopters, hospitals, and tens of thousands of troops to strengthen United Nations peacekeeping. And that's why we should celebrate the fact that later today, the United States will join with more than 50 countries to enlist new capabilities: infantry, intelligence, helicopters, hospitals, and tens of thousands of troops to strengthen United Nations peacekeeping.